What do missed penalties and getting an answer wrong in front of the whole class have in common? I'm Marie from This Child Can, and in this video we're going to explore what football can teach children about handling those moments when things don't go to plan. Let's start with one of the most dramatic moments in sport, a penalty shootout in the World Cup. Imagine you're the player. You place the ball on the spot. You've practiced this skill thousands of times. You've scored this penalty over and over again in training. But this isn't training. The stadium falls silent. 1 billion people are watching. This one kick will decide everything. Score and your team wins the World Cup. Miss and it's all over. You take a step back. You look at the goal, trying to stay focused. The referee blows the whistle. You take a breath, run forward, strike the ball, and you miss. The stadium erupts. Some fans celebrate wildly. Others stand frozen in disbelief. Your teammates sink to the ground. The dream is over. Your team crashes out of the competition, and everyone is looking at you. In the middle of that storm, figuring out what to do next can feel incredibly difficult. So how do you pick yourself up when something goes wrong? That's the challenge professional footballers face after a missed penalty. And it's the same challenge children face after a setback at school, in sport, or in everyday life. Most children won't find themselves standing in front of a packed stadium, but they do know what it feels like when something goes wrong and everyone seems to notice. It might happen after getting a question wrong in class, freezing during a test, losing a match, forgetting their lines in a performance, making a mistake in front of their friends. It's easy to think it's only one mistake. But to a child, it can feel much bigger than that. They may feel overwhelmed by a rush of difficult emotions and worries about what others are thinking of them. Educational psychiatrist and author Dr. Dan Siegel describes this as a kind of emotional flooding. In these moments, feelings such as embarrassment, frustration, disappointment, anger, and shame can all arrive at once, making it difficult for a child to think clearly or respond calmly. This can affect children in ways that make resilience harder. When emotions take over, children may struggle to think clearly about what has happened, learn from the experience, or see a way forward. Neuroscience research suggests that strong emotions can temporarily reduce access to the brain's more advanced thinking skills, making it harder to reason, remember information, and solve problems effectively. When that happens, telling a child to have another go is missing the point. The problem isn't a lack of effort. It's that they're struggling to manage the emotions that have suddenly taken centre stage. And until those emotions begin to settle, it can be difficult for them to bounce back from the setback and move forwards. What I find fascinating is that professional football teams don't simply tell players to be resilient. They actively teach resilience. Sports psychologists help players prepare for pressure, recover after mistakes, refocus after disappointment, learn from what happened, step back into the game. In other words, resilience isn't something you're either born with or without. It's a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned. Research from psychologist Carol Dweck shows that children who believe abilities can be developed are more likely to persevere after setbacks than those who see ability as fixed. That's encouraging because it means resilience isn't reserved for a lucky few. It's something children can build over time. So what does resilience actually look like in practice? Here at This Child Can, we've created a simple tool called Lift to help children bounce back after setbacks. Please feel free to use it with children you support. And if you share it, please mention This Child Can so others can watch this video too. When children feel knocked down by a mistake, setback, or disappointment, Lift helps them to find their way forward. The idea is simple and anyone can use it. The letters in Lift each represent a step children can take when facing a setback. First, L. Label the feeling. When something goes wrong, children often try to fix it immediately, or avoid it, or push their feelings aside. But before they can move forward, they need to understand what they're experiencing. A child might be feeling disappointed, embarrassed, angry, frustrated, nervous. Simply naming the emotion helps bring a sense of order to what can feel like chaos. Psychologist Matthew Lieberman's research found that putting feelings into words can help calm the brain's emotional response and make those feelings easier to manage. It tells the brain, I understand what's happening right now. I. Inhale and let it settle. Children don't learn much when they're overwhelmed by emotion. This is the moment to pause, take a breath, and slow things down. Not to ignore the feeling or push it away, but to give it space to settle enough for clear thinking to return. Research shows that slow, controlled breathing can reduce stress responses and help regulate the nervous system. Even a few deep breaths can help children move from reacting emotionally to thinking more clearly. F. Figure out what happened. Once emotions have eased a little, we can begin reflecting. This isn't about pointing fingers or telling ourselves off. It's about taking a step back and wondering what we can learn from it. So we ask ourselves questions like, what made this situation difficult? What happened just before things went wrong? What can we learn from this? What might we do differently next time? It's exactly what successful sports teams do after a match. They review what happened, not to dwell on the mistakes, but to improve. And finally, T, try again. This is perhaps the most important step of all. Children don't build resilience simply by talking about setbacks. They build it by returning to the challenge, answering the next question, taking the next shot, attempting the next problem, having another go. What we're teaching children is that one setback doesn't mean it's over. They can learn from it, pick themselves up, and keep going. We've covered a lot in this video, but if there's one lesson I'd love every child to take away, it's this. Every football team loses matches. Every footballer makes mistakes. Every player misses opportunities. Yet those moments don't define them. As Maya Angelou famously said, you may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. I think that's such an important message for children because losing a match doesn't make you a loser. Getting a question wrong doesn't mean you're bad at maths. Making a mistake doesn't make you a failure. It simply means something went wrong. And something going wrong is not the end of the story as long as we remember to label the feeling, inhale and let it settle, figure out what happened, try again. In other words, lift. Because resilience isn't about never falling down. It's about learning how to get back up again. Thanks for watching. If this helped, please like the video and subscribe to This Child Can for more clear, practical ways to support children's learning. And I'd love to know, what's the most valuable lesson a setback has ever taught you?